Good morning or good afternoon, depending when you're watching this, parents and guardians of Year 11 and Year 13 pupils at Strood Academy. I wanted to take the time to do this video to explain to you in further detail the process that we are going through of awarding teacher assessed grades for our Year 11 and our Year 13 pupils this summer. I think it's really important that you have an understanding of the processes that we are going through in order to achieve accurate and objective results. So what evidence will we be using to determine grades? So there's two key words here, holistic and common approach to evidence. Holistic means that we'll be looking at lots of different sources of evidence. We won't just be basing it on one piece of evidence. So the assessments that pupils are completing at the moment are of course incredibly important, but they won't be the only source of evidence that we are using in order to determine grades. And we're also taking a common approach to evidence. Now, this is twofold. Departments, subjects are collating evidence in the same way and following the same process, but they will also be using the same evidence base for each pupil in a particular subject to ensure consistency and a level playing field. Now, evidence will come in the form of lots of different things, including in-class assessments, mock exams, classwork including work and exercise books, essays, exam board questions, homework, work completed during lockdown as well. Now, it's vital that that evidence is valid and reliable. We're going through strict QA processes to ensure that this is the case, including the assessments that are being completed at the moment. For example, they're going to be marked in line with exam board standards using mark schemes. There'll be internal and external moderation, and it'll go through various stages of QA, which I'll go through in a little while. Keeping you in the know. Teachers will tell pupils the pieces of work that will be used as evidence to inform their overall grades. Pupils will have the opportunity to raise any concerns about the evidence being used. For example, if the evidence was affected by personal circumstances, such as illness. Teachers will make the final judgment about what evidence is to be included, however. Now, teachers will not be able to tell students the grade that is being submitted to the exam board. And this is stated, as stated by the JCQ, the exam regulator. And this is really something that is non-negotiable because it could result in malpractice against the school and against the pupil. So it's vital that we don't tell pupils or parents their grades. How is evidence used? Now, no single piece of evidence will necessarily be more important than another, as teachers will be assessing based on a range of evidence that will give an overall picture. We do, however, take into account the accuracy of that evidence, but also the conditions in which it has been completed. So, for example, the assessments which we're currently completing are being done in high control conditions. Whereas work, for example, homework, is not as controlled, which means that the weighting of evidence used to determine grade will be greater for that evidence completed in a high control condition. Now, I've dedicated a whole slide to this word objective. Evidence will be objective, and grades will be objective. We'll be basing grades on evidence which is accurate, has passed through quality assurance processes, and is fit for purpose. It's not opinion-based, and the grades are not opinion-based. They are objective, they are not subjective. Determining grades. Once all of the evidence is selected and assessments are complete, teachers will decide an overall grade. They will do this objectively. So if you're performing consistently at a grade 5 standard in a subject at GCSE, you should be awarded at a grade 5. It is important to say that much like exams in normal years, the grades issued by teachers at Strood Academy will not take into account your potential, and they won't be predicted like they were last year. They will be a snapshot of the standard you are performing at based on a wide range of evidence. it should be no easier or harder for you to achieve a grade this year based on your performance than in previous years. And what I mean by that is that grades will be accurate and they will be a fair reflection of what you are achieving, not what should you achieve. So they won't be overinflated and they won't be underinflated. They will be accurate. What happens after my teacher determines my grade in a subject? So once the teacher has determined your grade, it will be reviewed by other teachers at Strood Academy and the senior leadership team. So grades determined are consistent within the school. Exam boards also check our policies to make sure that they meet requirements. We will also be moderating with other schools in the trust to ensure that we are accurate in our judgment. And once the grades are received, every centre will be asked to provide samples of student work. That will go to the exam boards, who will check that the evidence base is wide-ranging, accurate, and it supports the grade that we have determined. Now, I've put this graphic in here just to show you all of the different stages of quality assurance that grades pass through. So it's the teachers that determine the grades. They're then checked by heads of subject and heads of faculty. They're then quality assured by the school leadership team. The head teacher is involved in looking at the grades and involved in data meetings, involved in samples as well. All of our data then goes through the Lee Academy's trust. And finally, exam boards, they also check. And as I already mentioned, it might be that they ask to see a sample of our evidence against the grades that we have determined. I've put the exam regulator here, the JCQ. They're involved with every stage. They do various things, including looking at our policies. They have phone conversations with us. They might have virtual meetings. So there's lots of different quality assurance processes. Now, in terms of the appeal process, every learner has the right to appeal. We expect that appeals will be minimal, really because of the quality of our procedures and the quality assurance processes that we have in place to determine accurate grades. Stage one, the first stage of an appeal is to check for a clerical error. If none are found, then a student may wish for the school to take forward the appeal to the exam board, excuse me, on their behalf. Stage two, the exam board will look at the evidence used to determine a grade and whether it is wide-ranging and consistent. It should be noted as well that grades can go up as well as down. Results days will be held on the 10th and the 12th of August this year, so just please keep that in mind. Now that's the end of my presentation. In the letter has my email address. If there are any questions or any concerns or queries, please don't hesitate to contact me. We're being incredibly transparent with you about what we're doing because it's important to be. And I want you to feel reassured of the processes that we are going to ensure accurate and objective results. Thank you ever so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Take care.